The first meeting
in July.
in July.
Okay.
Yep. So,
I'm sorry, this gentleman had his hand up already.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
About the legal counsel department, is the state's attorney
The
involved?
state's attorney has been involved. He's been at least 2 of the committee meetings.
Did you said this is the first time you've seen the maps, Chris?
I wasn't able to
You
make
weren't
the
at the
Friday morning meeting because I had court. I've never seen a map. I've never been a part of any discussion or heard discussion where there was actual numbers discussed. No one's asked me anything about the case or the statutes or how they're construed or how courts have construed the words of the Constitution.
We did ask your opinion as far as the prison issue.
The prison issue, correct.
Thank you.
Yes, Howard Elmore.
Yes, sir.
Has there been a proposed map published, or proposed maps published for the public to see?
Randy has had the maps since after
They
the
have
last
not
meeting.
been published
Where would they be published at?
in the paper.
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Okay. You can win the battle, but you can also lose the war. That's an old saying.
Thank you. Is there any other? Yes, sir.
I'll ask you again.
Could you state your name again, just because some of this is being
Ron Shevlin. Could you tell us who you consulted that may have had software that was used to help make the determinations you made?
I consulted with a number of people. I'm not going to go through everybody I've consulted with. I've consulted with people on the street.
I'm not asking you to go through the whole list. I just simply asked anybody who had the software that you could have been used to make these determinations.
Sir, I'm not going to go through everybody I consulted with. Thank you, though.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, you just got through reading part of a court case that specifically said recent advances in technology have made this apportionment process easier than it's ever been. The court therefore holds and requires that the district shall be close to equal the population as practical, given the current state of technology.
Can you
Now,
hand
I'm
me the
asking
insets?
you
You have those
one more
insets so I can
time,
show you.
what is the state of technology software?
I'd just like to show you, sir. These are all on the internet. These are the census tracts that I printed off and colored in my own bad way. I colored these in about 20 different ways. And that's how I came up with the numbers. Those are the census tract data that you can find by going to census.gov.
And that's very same court case that says if you use the software, you generate immediate visual representations of the data to analyze the resulting deviations in population under the proposed district.
I haven't done that. I added them by myself.
Well, and okay, fine. That brings me back to the point that we were making earlier, and that is, this may be a good map, then again, it might not be a good map, and there may be a much better map available that divides fewer precincts, divides fewer districts and townships, and displaces and affects fewer people and costs the county less. Now, why would one not be interested in finding out what the answers to those questions are?
I believe we have, sir. Is there any other discussion?
No, that was a possible question, and I don't disagree with you, and it was presented, and again, we've got 4 maps. Joe has 2 of them. I asked that question, not Friday, whatever the question was before, and I've asked Randy twice, is there anything out there that gets closer than 6% than what is in front of us? And I've been told no at least a half a dozen times. There's been nothing else provided. So that's
And have you tried any software, sir, to find out whether there is something better available?
I have not done that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
The action tonight will be, or the action on this issue will be in effect for 10 years. Earlier tonight, an issue was brought before the board that was tabled. It was tabled because one word needed to be changed in a contract that was offered at a previous meeting, and the board won't take it up until the next meeting. In this situation, we have maps that were shown in a small group Friday morning, last business day before today. They've not been published in a meaningful way or been brought to the public's attention, yet the board wants to take action on it promptly. I think that a small delay is appropriate to give the public some additional time to look at their options. I think that the deadline law that you cited, Mr. Chairman, I don't think we can go around presuming statutes to be unconstitutional. I understand your concern at the time. However, I think good faith reliance on laws that are at the time is something that courts would give deference to. But we're also assuming that if a plan is not enacted, that, oh my goodness, doom's upon us and there's no other options. The statutes provide for an alternative method to go into effect.
Yes, it does. Yes, you're right. Can you tell us about that, please?
Chris, not to interrupt, but is this a policy discussion or is this a legal discussion?
Well, this is actually legal. You've brought up lots of legal points, but not consulted with me at anything on respect to the viability of the law with respect to ramming things through quickly. And also, I'll make my last point. You've not asked me about the meaning of those precepts you've cited. One precept you haven't cited too much is the compact and contiguity provision. And courts have cited that one guiding factor in determining whether a plan is contiguous or compact is whether you're maintaining in a compact unit a community of interest. There are certain pockets of community of interest. You're shaking your head, you've read those cases. There's been no discussion of that, and I think your map is splitting those communities of interest. Your position, I'm not arguing against that, I'm not a policymaker, as Mr. DeVore is pointing out, is that equality takes precedence. And I'm not suggesting that it shouldn't be considered, but I think you're completely neglecting to take into consideration communities of interest. You're splitting the Shoal Creeks, you're splitting the Burgesses, and I think that those people need to have an opportunity, a meaningful opportunity, not a Friday morning to Monday night opportunity, to read about it in the newspaper, for this issue to be properly vetted and for comments to be made.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that unsolicited opinion, Mr. Bauer.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Bauer.
Yes, sir.
Joe Dahl. I just have one comment, and I'm not a politician. My dad says I should be because I like to talk. But it comes up, whenever we have an election for the county board, and John alluded to it, that, probably the vote's going to be 3-2. And that's going to be politics. Whenever I look at the 5 members of my county board, I don't see a Republican, a Democrat, or anything else. I see 5 individuals whose sole responsibility is to protect the interest and protection of the Bond County people and to do the best job peacefully.
Absolutely.
And at that, I'll let it lay.
Thank you.
Good man, Joe.
Any other